You're listening to the Rogers Sporting Goods Podcast with Patrick Fisher,
Chandler Smith,
and Josh from Outdoor Limits.
In this podcast, we'll touch on everything from gear to ducks to deer, turkey and fishing. From field to table, let's dive in.
So good.
I know. I can't believe he found that.
I know they had some good little clips on that episode.
is that on yours?
No, it was
when he said
he was eating a snack stick. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, so I was just being funny. And then Chandler, if you remember, he goes, Hayden will cut that out. Uh-huh. And then he puts in that old guy saying, no, I don't think I will.
Yes, that was good. That was good.
And then he plays that, like the first video he found was that guy cooking.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh. And he goes, I don't really mean to pick on you. I'm like, I don't care. People can say what they want.
So we got some snacks here.
Mm-hmm.
What do we got?
What do you call this one?
So this is just a enchilada casserole, essentially.
Enchilada.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is elk.
This is elk meat, yeah.
Which you got this year.
Correct.
Yeah. Well,
Tastes elky.
Yeah. I don't, right? I mean, I get tons of venison, and I eat
Right.
that, but.
Can you notice a difference for real?
No.
Okay.
I was like, how do you tell us?
Like,
that?
I wouldn't know the difference of this and anything.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in his, that elk was, what do we estimate? It was
10 years
probably
old.
about 10 years old. So, you know,
So
the older the
older.
animal. Yeah. And so
Right.
we were kind of wondering, but it's probably the best tasting game meat we've had is that elk compared
Gotcha.
to some of the other ones that we've had.
Right.
That wasn't store-bought.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there are, yeah. And we'll probably go down a lot of rabbit holes
Right.
during this conversation. Are there well, just let me introduce you real quick. So, which I met Mike just a couple times. I've seen him at the store, and then obviously you brought in Field to
The
Table.
giant,
Literally, if you're on some of our social media and stuff, because I posted the picture of your elk, I think on the in-store shopper page.
Okay.
You know, to show people what he got.
Right.
It was a nice elk.
Mm-hmm.
And so literally I got to see it there, and now I'm eating it. Kind of like we were talking about your snack sticks.
I don't think you can eat this while you're hunting an elk, though.
Yeah, right.
It's not on the go
It
food.
would
No,
be,
no.
packing casseroles out
Hey,
in
we got
your
a travel kit.
campsite. Well, especially the hunts he's doing. Mike and then Jennifer, for all intents and purposes, for the wild game, is the brains of the
The recipes.
operation.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. You hunt and find it, bring it to her, and
She cooks.
Yeah.
and
Then I
pretty
create
soon
the
you got a
recipes.
a recipe. And then, how do you pronounce your last name?
Schreckengost?
Shreckengost.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I said ghost, and I'm like, no, there's no H, but
Yeah,
Shreckengost. So,
Schreckengost.
and you all live in the Kansas City area. Do you live in Liberty?
We live in Excelsior
Or-
Springs.
Excelsior Springs,
Mm-hmm.
yep. But so they frequent the store, and so I've seen Mike there, and then the last time, actually, when you brought your elk, I think, is when we started talking about Primal Pioneer,
Mm-hmm.
and so I got to look at it and looked on Instagram, started following it, and then checked out the website, and then we're foodies, you know, back here in this little hole we have. So
I got
anytime,
Got a bucket of popcorn in the bottom drawer.
exactly. And typically Josh will bring in something, you know, jerky he's made from the waterfowl side. So.
One day we made brats. I brought
Yeah.
in brats and we cooked them out in the parking lot.
Yeah, you were talking about. We'll have to do that again
Not today, though.
and do some
Too snowy.
brats.
Too snowy.
Well, that was all of a sudden.
That was
That
unexpected.
I was not. I knew there was a chance of something, but I was seeing some friends of mine post some videos from like 3 a.m. They were out. Mm-hmm. Someplace got like 4+ inches.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going on?
I think it
here?
even surprised the,
Yeah.
It's
the
like,
weather.
yeah, right. So we're always talking about food, and I'm like, I've got some people. This would be perfect.
Yeah.
You've been doing it now. How long have you been doing Primal Pioneer?
I think we've had Primal Pioneer for
2018.
since 2018.
Okay, so 5 years,
Yeah.
roughly. And what's the? Well, before we dive into that, so Mike is from Pennsylvania,
Correct.
and you lived here, Jennifer.
Yeah, I'm originally from here.
originally from here, and then so when did you move to Missouri?
January 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
2011. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And then you got together, and now we're,
Right, now
we're
we're
doing
Primal
things.
Pioneer.
Were you into hunting and this type of stuff
No.
before?
No.
It's kind of it was a new world
Yeah.
getting into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because even growing up, like my dad, he occasionally did like pheasant hunting, quail hunting, but he never hunted like big game. So
It's a whole new venture.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And so that's why I kind of needed, like, I wanted to figure out recipes because I'm like, okay, if I'm going to have all this meat to do something with, and our kind of my initial experience with most people with venison are just like some really boring, basic,
right. It's the
Spaghetti
normal.
or
the
chili
cream
or-
of mushroom
You know what I mean?
noodles.
Yeah.
Wrap it in bacon.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So I thought, okay, I'm going to figure out how to elevate this wild game into some really tasty,
Which
different
we have
recipes.
4 boys plus me. That's
Okay.
a lot of deer meat.
You probably
So-
go through a lot of.
So
Yeah.
we had to figure out what we wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even for personal experience, although this last year was unsuccessful in the whitetail world, but if I do have venison to cook, like I said last time, I've done just a butterfly chop, the simple, some cream cheese, a little jalapeno in there, wrap it in bacon. I put it on the smoker, normal. Or Dad would do like pound out some butterfly chops and then, kind of skillet fry it, almost like a chicken fried steak,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
something like that. So, or the chili,
Yeah.
right? Chili's
That's a standard
It's
go-to.
easy.
Yeah.
Okay, I got hamburger.
Right.
In fact, I got away from getting as much hamburger because I didn't know what to make.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, we always have all this hamburger left over.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what do we? Chili.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of our readers. That's kind of our you'll see a big focus is on ground because our readers predominantly have a freezer full of ground that they don't know what to do with. I mean, it's easy to do the back straps and that sort of thing or the roast. But it's like, what do you do with ground venison besides chili?
Besides chili.
So that's kind of why a lot of our recipes are ground because we're trying to come up with some different ways for people to use ground
right.
wild game.
Yep. Was that when you started Primal? Was venison the start, or was it just
Elk.
when you started? It was elk and everything.
I think it was mostly elk.
Yeah. It
and
was
then we
mainly
kind of
elk
branched
that year
into-
in September when I went.
Yeah.
Because you're big into that now.
Right.
Is the elk? Do you still whitetail hunt though in the state?
I do. Yeah.
Eat every fall.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I archery hunt on my own land,
Yeah.
and then I rifle hunt on public land.
Okay.
So-
Yeah. Yeah. Which I'd like to get into some of that here in a little bit. Is some of that public land because I think you've got some tips and stuff that I think people would enjoy. We've done some, DIY. Talked about was it Chandler? Chandler, they did it twice. They went to Colorado. 3 or 4 of the guys from here, and it was different. I think the one year they went, they had wildfires out there. Is it 5 or 6 years ago now, or somewhere around there?
3 years ago.
Just 3
Maybe
years ago.
3.
So we had to change our location the one year.
And they
for elk.
remember. I was like, not that they got cell service, but I was like, how's the fire out there, guys? Like,
Did you bring your marshmallows?
exactly. So yeah, that could change a lot. Do the fires happen out there quite Is that a yearly thing where you get some out in Colorado?
I mean, it seems like there always is.
Not
Not
that they're-
usually in the
Not
units.
as big as like they were
But
3 years ago.
It just happened to be this last few years. There was one near the unit that
Yeah.
we regularly visit.
But not like something you'd see, like California. You
No,
see
I
the
don't think it's, like, all the
big
time, yeah.
wildfires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm sure you probably get it. Yeah. So, now you do all the elk hunting and stuff. So that's crazy. I've been on one elk hunt and that was, I think it was my birthday, Christmas, all gift together when I was 16 or something, and my mom bought tags. We went to Montana, and I just did a gun hunt because it was my first time, and I'm like, the chances of being successful then are probably going to be higher, and we found an outfitter, which really, that's another thing maybe you can speak to down the line here is when you outfitters, like, they can all put up pretty pictures.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what we found out.
Yeah.
Like, we get there, and then it's like most of the photo albums is just the family. Like,
Yeah.
okay, something's a little off here.
Yeah.
But I got lucky and got one, and
Nice.
so it worked out. But
Yeah.
anyway, so Primal Pioneer takes off. What'd you say?
2018.
2018.
We started it, yeah.
And did you have the website at that point?
I think we did. We started it, then we kind of neglected it for
Right.
for a year, and then we kind of like revitalized it and started really kind of like adding more recipes and kind of going all in with it. So
Yeah.
We were working with a company too.
Okay.
To make recipes.
oh yeah, we had some sponsored
Gotcha.
content
To
with
try to get
Honest Bison, who sells wild game meat.
Yeah. And so for all intents and purposes, Primal Pioneer is what to you guys? Like, it's wild game recipes and
It's public. The main focus is public land hunting and wild game recipes.
Yep.
Kind of like a field to table resource, but the focus is on public land hunting.
Okay.
And then obviously elevating your harvest. Into
right,
some
so they kind of go together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it elk and I was looking, but for the public land side, is it elk, whitetail? They kind of correlate,
Right.
like depending on what you want to go do, you can kind of help people
Yeah.
Yeah.
each way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which we want to add, turkey and fishing this year.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
And some we have like 2 pheasant recipes.
Right.
Get a little more of that on the content.
Get some birds in
Yeah.
there.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
because it was
Yeah.
pretty good.
I know
Yeah.
that pheasant piccata was pretty good.
Yeah. Pheasant piccata.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was really good.
My pheasant expertise is pheasant poppers.
That's
That's what everybody
common.
does,
Yes,
right?
that's what everyone does.
And they're delicious. But that's the main thing you see.
I made pheasant parm.
See, there you go.
Yeah, see, you're like, he's waterfowl guru, so same kind of concept, right? You hunt and you get all this meat. For him, he gets all this waterfowl, and it's like,
You got to figure out what to do.
I got to
with it.
figure out what to do with it.
And you can't do the same thing
So-
every time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
That's what we
sometimes we
found
do
out.
chili and then we do taco chili. We just add a taco seasoning packet, some Mexicorn, and
And call it taco
we're rock
chili.
and rolling.
Put it
Yeah.
inside a taco shell.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, something like that. A little chili mac five way or something. Yeah, some birds. That'd be cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had some requests for some of our readers have emailed and asked for, if we have quail recipes, or we have a guy that wanted some wild hog recipes. So
Oh, okay.
the more requests we get, the more we'll kind of branch out.
Yeah, it's probably endless.
Yeah.
Always coming up with new stuff, and
Yeah.
there's so much different game out there.
Antelope.
you
Antelope
can-
was another
antelope
request.
was another one, which we had antelope backstraps.
Yeah.
Thanks to
Okay.
one of my pool customers.
Yeah.
But it was good, really good.
It was probably one of the best wild game steaks I've had was
Really?
antelope. Yeah.
We had a gentleman that used to work at the store, and his dad had gotten a mountain lion
Oh, really?
out in Colorado, and he said the mountain lion steaks were
Really?
phenomenal.
That's a
but
new
it's
one.
weird to think about because it's like cat.
Yeah.
So you're wondering
Yeah.
but apparently
I mean, people eat beavers and coyotes.
people eat
and
everything, right? So
it's crazy.
I don't know if we're going down that far.
at some
Raccoon.
point, someone had to think about eating a, oh my gosh,
Squirrel.
ribeye of the sky,
Oh, crane.
A
a crane.
Yeah.
At one point, it's like, that's a weird bird. Should we eat that? Someone said, let's do it. And then realized,
It's good.
phenomenal.
Really?
I never had it. You have it?
I haven't, but he has a lot of
Yeah.
waterfowlers that are big
I was
into it.
I was organizing my freezer the other day, and I found 2 vacuum sealed packages of crane breasts that I still have. So those are gonna probably hit the sous vide sometime soon.
Nice.
And then
Yeah.
I've also got packages of the crane legs and thighs that I have to figure something out.
Something out for.
Well, how big are those?
I can't imagine a crane leg.
Well,
Like-
the foot's like that big.
Yeah. And there's like a little nibble of meat.
yeah.
Like a,
Like the drumsticks, like that big around. But the thighs they've got quite a bit on there.
you just like cook it and then you just grab the leg. That's your utensil.
it off.
Dip it in a little
like
soy sauce or
Like one
something.
of those tomahawk steaks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But they say it's phenomenal.
it's-
and I'd love
it's
to
good.
have some. But I'd like it.
Do I need to bring some?
Yeah. But I want it cooked hot, fresh. Like, I don't want to reheat a leftover bird.
Crane leg.
A crane leg. Get you
I
a
gotta figure out what
leftover
those taste like.
crane leg. But that's why they call it the ribeye of the sky or sirloin of the sky or whatever. So, yeah. Yeah, so going, into these recipes, like obviously we're doing the enchiladas, but where do you get your ideas? Like, do you play around a lot with it?
Some of them will have to test, especially if it's, like a bigger cut of meat or, it has to cook. I mean, ground is pretty simple, 1-to-1 swap.
Make this a
add little
long
more.
story because I'm going to eat. I'm kidding.
But I mean, honestly, the way I approach it is I just do. I'm a foodie, so I'm constantly watching like cooking channels or looking online, and I'll see a recipe, and I'll just immediately think like, oh, I bet we could swap in. A deer, a venison steak or something
Right.
with that. Same with like the pheasant piccata. Like I didn't want to just have fried pheasant when they went and got pheasant. So I was like, well, I love chicken piccata. So let's try to make pheasant piccata out of pheasant breast. We made a pheasant pot pie, just kind of probably how you approach like your pheasant parm. I mean, so I have magazines and I have, cookbooks and all sorts of things.
So you
that-
can take some ideas that were done with
With-
ground beef or whatever.
chicken.
Sub in a wild game.
Yeah.
Tinker with it. Maybe season it a little bit different or something. And,
Yeah.
What's the most popular item that either people write in about or maybe you enjoy?
I would say our most popular it's another version of an enchilada casserole, except it's a green chili enchilada casserole.
Okay.
That's one of the hot recipes on the blog. The venison Reuben, believe it or not, I had a lady write into me and said I had no faith in this recipe. There was no way this venison
Right.
roast was going to taste like a corned beef Reuben, and it
Right.
did. She's like, I was
The
like,
kids love that one.
They were like, that was she wrote in to tell me about
So
that.
take us through that. Like, what's that entail?
So you just take, it's been a while since I made it, but
Yeah.
you just take your venison roast and essentially go through the same process that you would making corned beef or
With
Reuben
that.
with that special,
The special, like the peppercorns.
yeah,
and
the little seasoning packet and the salt. The brining. I can't.
Yeah.
Of course, the name is
Uh-huh.
escaping me right
Yep.
now. And just slow cook it and.
And it really.
It literally tasted just
Yeah.
like a corned beef
Yeah.
Reuben, but it was venison.
One that I saw, because like when I go to a restaurant, I even have this, it's hard for me because I want to try a bunch of different things. So I like the small things that look like appetizers. So like I saw elk empanadas
Yeah.
or whatever. Those look
Yeah.
phenomenal. I don't know what's in that.
So that's again just kind of like essentially like a taco meat mixture
Okay.
inside with onions and ground beef and some seasoning.
Uh-huh.
And then you just use a simple pie crust
Yeah.
to make it, fry it.
Yeah.
I was just talking to him about that one. Because for me, when I cook with wild game, when I cook in general, like I like lots of robust flavor.
Yeah.
And if you are cooking for someone that, is hesitant about wild game, or you always hear the gamey,
Right, it's gamey.
like.
Which, by the way, this is not.
Yeah, oh, thank
At
you.
all.
Thank
No,
you.
it's just elky.
It's just
Yeah,
healthy.
elky, yeah.
Is to start with something like this that has a lot of flavor, because it can kind of help blend some of that earthiness that can sometimes pop up
Right.
with your wild game meat. So that's kind of like like the elk empanadas or the calzones that we have on the blog.
Oh.
We have some elk calzones.
Pot stickers.
The elk pot stickers.
Oh, I saw those
Yeah, that
too,
one just
yeah.
launched. So I'm just constantly
And are
thinking
you
like
deep frying the empanadas, or do you bake them?
You can do it either way. I think
Okay.
the recipe has directions for both of them.
Gotcha.
So
And each thing I noticed, well, I believe so, everyone that I at least clicked on, whether it's empanadas or, gosh, I can't remember what I clicked on. I was just surfing. But they have the recipes listed on the website.
yeah.
Which is primalpioneer.com. So people can go there and find that. And there's recipes, elk recipes, ground venison,
recipes.
Traeger, like,
Yeah.
and you say Traeger, but
A smoker
I
in
suppose
general.
any smoker.
Right.
Yeah. That's just a Google keyword,
But that's a big thing, right? People love,
Smoke.
doing
Yeah.
smoked meats and different things. So I'd like to learn some of that too. So I'm pretty sure I'll be getting in on that. So
One of the best Traeger recipes was that smoked whole elk tenderloin that's peppercorn
peppercorn.
crusted.
Oh, okay.
It came out perfect on the smoker.
yeah.
So tender.
I think
And-
my favorite's the patty melt.
Yeah, he does like
See,
the patty
I'm a
melt.
patty melt guy, and I think that was the one you showed me
At the store.
when we were at the store. Yeah,
Yeah, that is a
and
good
I'm
one.
I'm a patty melt type
Yeah.
guy, so I
That's
was
so
like,
good.
yeah, sign me up. I mean, I
Better
already.
than that chili.
I'll tell you
Not
how
that
much
there's
of a
not some
foodie.
good
I
chili
already ate
recipes out
lunch.
there.
I'm eating again. Well, I didn't know. I was like, I better eat just in case. I don't know how much time they had, and sure
No,
enough,
she was
not
prepping
only
at
did she
6.
she didn't bring the small appetizer, she brought a whole casserole.
You said do something easy, and that's the easiest thing to make.
Yeah. Martha Stewart ain't got nothing on Jennifer. So, what was, oh, shoot. On the Traeger, like I'm a simplistic, right? I put the chicken thigh in or, just the hunk of meat. But you can do all sorts of stuff. I see people doing like the queso dips or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's kind of wild. Which I think I saw you guys actually have a recipe for some dips.
Yeah, we have a venison queso dip
Uh-huh.
on there that kind of has a bunch of stuff. It's actually it's a beer based queso dip.
With the Super Bowl coming up,
Yeah.
see this Sunday,
Yep.
y'all
Jalapeno poppers.
need to go on the Primal Pioneer and find the.
I don't think they're gonna hear this episode before.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be okay. Well,
Next year.
now you're gonna be like, oh dang. Well, for your next party you
Your next
host,
party, there you go.
be perfect. All
Backyard barbecue.
all that game that's sitting in the freezer, and you want to host a party, and you're like, let's just go buy meatballs at the store
Yeah.
or whatever.
I think we have 5 different meatball recipes on the blog.
Okay.
Bourbon meatballs.
Swedish meatballs, barbecue bourbon meatballs, crock pot.
I don't know if
smoked.
I don't know if you have this one, but if not, maybe you can look into it. So Korean meatballs.
I don't have that
Okay,
one.
so we've only done it with just the normal ground beef. Like we did. Well, I won't say the company, but anyways, we got a meal from them, and you prep it and whatever. And one of the recipes is Korean meatballs. It's like
Yeah.
a sriracha based type drizzle with the, creamy. So it's a little bit of kick, but a little
I think we
ginger,
might have tried that recipe.
little
actually.
ginger.
think- 'Cause remember we had, yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Come in a box.
Yeah, I think so.
comes to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
But it
it's-
was different. We put it over some rice and
But see, you get that, and then you get the
But now
inspiration to be
that's
like,
inspiration.
how
We
can
can
I
do it with
do that
venison.
with
Right.
other
Yeah.
wild game?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that with duck all the time. Like,
yeah.
I saw a really, really awesome meatloaf recipe.
With duck.
And no, it was just a regular,
Oh, okay.
like, bacon wrapped smoked meatloaf.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, fine. I'll do that with duck. And with duck, you got to, like, mix it with fat. Otherwise, it's going to be really nasty. But yeah, it was really good. And
Well, like the calzone, that's something that you wouldn't. That's not the first thing that's going to pop into your
Right,
mind. What do
yeah.
I make with my wild game? Oh, a calzone,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
there's so many uses
Uh-huh.
for it. Like, I think people sometimes overthink, oh, I have to make a wild game recipe with my wild game. When
Right.
all reality is, like, let's say, just like fajitas. Any wild game will do.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of cooking it correctly. And I think wild game tends to get a bad reputation from the general public with it being gamey or tasting off or whatever, because they just they've either had it and it wasn't cooked properly. Like with duck, people say it's livery and gross. That's because
Right.
you cooked it to 205 degrees and it's just not good anymore.
Yeah, it can ruin someone the first time.
Right. Or just not handling it correctly in the field.
Yeah, that's a.
So
You bring up a good point. So one of the things I wanted to ask, besides, and I've had bad experiences at different butchers too, but I live in town. I don't really have a spot that I'm gonna butcher my own deer.
Come on, you don't want to do it in the tree in the front
I
yard?
know my dad has before, but
Your HOA
not at
might
my
not like
house.
that.
But yeah, so I do. I take it somewhere. But I've tried a few different ones and found one that I actually really like, and they vacuum pack it. It's not in the old school butcher paper, and then it gets freezer burnt. And
that's how our deer always got done by
Yeah.
paper.
Yeah,
The
but
butcher
the elk,
paper's
the
like
elk
the
was
go-to.
vacuum sealed.
Perfect. The guy that did this,
Yeah.
which
And
was in
so
Colorado.
is the handling of it. If you're not going to take it to a butcher, like walk us through that, right? So
See, when
maybe
I
just the field part, the taking care of, like when you butchered your elk out in the,
well, that was an experience of its own, right?
okay,
But we
yeah,
had
true.
We have a
That's
guy
true.
that hunts with us, and he's a taxidermist in Kansas over here.
Okay.
So him and his buddies used to go elk hunting all the time, and I don't know why he got away from those guys, but he started going with us, and he did everything. So he knew how to cape it out because he's a taxidermist, and obviously I was going to get a mount,
Right.
and he was just throwing knives around, going in there, getting dirty. But we had our game bags, we had tarps to put it down, and when we got on that elk from the start, I bet you there was 500 flies
Really?
on that thing.
Already,
Already.
like after it had deceased
Yeah.
and then going up to it, tons
Yeah,
of flies.
tons. So we were, I don't know, we didn't get very many photos because we didn't know.
Right.
Like, let's break this thing down, get it out of
And
here.
let's get it going.
Which we were on a mountain, and it took a good 3-4 hours for our first elk. That we did everything that we thought we had to do. We didn't gut it. We did the gutless method.
Okay.
For the first time, and it was pretty complicated. But,
I've never done that method.
but YouTube.
Right.
But Dennis
Yeah.
helped us out a lot to get it, broken down and packed out.
Gotcha.
But when you field dress a whitetail,
When I field dress a whitetail, you drag it out,
Yeah.
with a
Uh-huh.
gurney or something on
Yeah.
public land or a four-wheeler on private land, and then I barely ever break it down or process it myself.
yeah, we usually take it somewhere.
I mean,
Sure,
I might
yeah.
have a couple times, but if I do it myself, I turn it all into burger
Right.
because it's easy for me to do
A lot
it that way.
easier at the
Right.
home. I mean, burgers. Yeah.
So I just
Right. And
all
that's probably
burger.
the most common.
Right.
Um,
But if we take it somewhere, then we just ask for cuts.
Well, now that I've had several years of experience with this, I think if you're going to take it to a butcher, like really know
What you want.
going into it what you want, because like
yeah.
I will say when we got the elk, it was the last day. I kind of didn't think we were going to get one this year,
Uh-huh.
and then all of a sudden we have this massive animal.
Now you got
and we didn't
something-
really think about like what do we want.
You
So
got
we go
something
to
to
the
deal with.
we go to the
Right.
we found a butcher nearby, and we like okay, well. What cuts do we want? So going into it, so when whitetail season came around, I was like, okay, I had a list, I had a paper, and I'm like, I want this, and I want this, and I want this. But otherwise, because when we've had whitetail butchered in the past, they do just throw a lot of it into ground. But if you want some of those other cuts that people don't always get, like a shank or a short
Right.
rib or something, you need to call that out.
Call it out. Tell them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think you can definitely ruin, especially if you're going to do it yourself and you don't know what you're doing and you're doing the gutting method.
Oh yeah,
And
be
just
careful.
you just really, you've already done it, so you succeeded. I would probably tell people to slow down.
Right.
You get in there and you're just
Mm-hmm.
chopping and cutting, and ain't nothing worse than poking the wrong thing
Right.
with your knife, or
Exactly.
yourself. I've done that before, but yeah, just slow down and take your time and really care for it, and
Mm-hmm.
gut it out properly. And I mean, if you're taking it to the butcher right away, they're going to clean it pretty well.
Right.
But if you know have the chance, or you have to hang it overnight because the butcher's closed or wherever you're taking it, you know, spraying it out, wash it down, because crud's going to get in there regardless, right?
Yeah.
You're out in the field, so it gets dirty and dust, but spraying it out, watching the weather, you know, if you need to put ice on it, just little things like that. But because my first time, I didn't know what I was doing, so you're trying to do it quickly, and you can just ruin so much.
I think the game bags help a lot. Because even whitetail, I think you guys even sell them in the store.
Yeah.
The full body whitetail bag.
Uh-huh.
So it does help.
Yep. Throw it in there, kind of protect it, you know, in transit, or if you got to take it somewhere. Yeah, honestly.
Would you throw the whole whitetail in with the hide on or off? Like that.
I never did it either way. I always just take the hide off and piece by piece, or just drag it out, then take it off. But I don't know what the bag.
Yeah, because you could quarter it out
Right.
and do the quarter bags, which now we sell tons of variations. This year we started carrying all sorts because we always ran out because of elk hunting was getting bigger, and so many guys were coming through the store looking for,
Bags.
you know, the cheesecloth bags or whatever, and we would run out. So now we carry multiple different brands, different sizes, and they're definitely, that's probably one of those things that you need to pack on a do-it-yourself
Oh,
hunt,
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
is have that stuff.
I bought mine already for this year.
Yeah,
I got.
stock
I mean,
up.
the day I go home from elk hunting, I dream about next year already.
Okay.
So she doesn't like it, but
It's
that's
funny.
all I talk about.
Yeah.
Well, you get addicted
You do,
to it.
right?
That was my last bite.
Don't choke.
It was so delicious.
Thank you.
Maybe we won't share with everybody else. No, I better. They know you're
But
coming.
they say with the gamey, you know, one could be the age of the animal, but then they also say that the sooner you find it and start the
process.
the field process, the better. I mean, obviously give it time to pass. But if you have to, if it's like, you know, you're trying to trail it and you don't find it till the next day, I think the stress hormones and everything, I think I've read where that can affect the meat. I personally, I could probably get some people that would disagree with me, but I personally don't buy into the soak it in milk, you know, for the gamey flavor of like all those little tips and tricks. Like I just think that's all a waste of time.
You've probably brought home does or bucks and had both put into some of these meals that you make.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't know that was the buck or the doe,
No.
you probably wouldn't know the difference.
Right. Yeah.
Or you don't know the difference. I think it's all about that preparation. And I like how you brought up like the robust flavors and the because if you make it super simplistic and it's just a bland, but that's with anything, right? When you cook, you want these explosions of flavors and things like that. So if you're just doing a simple chili with not the right seasonings, it might be game.
Or just like a steak that was overcooked, you know, because with venison and elk, you want to keep it really at that rare, just barely into medium rare territory. But once you go beyond that, it is going to be tough.
Have you done so he did this on our last episode when we were eating the sticks and stuff, we were talking about it, but the sous vide
We have not.
cooking. And now that you guys talked about it again, and I had known about it, but what an interesting and awesome way to get that right temperature.
Yeah.
You know, that you're talking about, and not overcooking it.
Yeah.
Because with that, you set it to that temp, at least from what I understand, there's really no way to overcook it. It's not going to happen. Where if
We haven't actually tried that, but it's on our list.
might be
it's
on
awesome.
a Christmas list for this next year.
I've seen it done.
Yeah.
Have you tried the sous vide and then like the reverse sear where you just like
Yeah.
get that?
You want to sear it after it comes out of the
Yeah.
sous vide, otherwise it's not going to look very
Right? Yeah, it doesn't look
good. Looks like this
appealing.
gray piece of
Yes.
flesh.
It's just like, yeah, right. I saw on the website too, is it like a seasonings tab or
Oh, we have a
something where
post
you
about
talk
different
about
homemade seasonings.
seasonings.
Yeah.
So is that something too? That's a whole different world. Like you make your own seasonings.
Yeah,
or
so I
you-
just came up with I think there's 6 different homemade seasonings, just like your standard like chili seasoning, or I think like there's a Santa Maria seasoning.
Coffee rub on there too.
There's a coffee rub because we do have a couple coffee rub recipes
Oh.
that were pretty good. And then a stew seasoning. So if you wanted to, bulk make your own homemade seasoning, keep it in an airtight jar. That's on the blog.
Right.
And my biggest goal was to always make our own and sell them.
Not there yet.
We're not there
There
yet.
yet, but that's okay.
I like to sell things.
We gotta have goals.
Right.
We gotta have goals,
Right. Yeah.
right? And we were talking about podcasting and things, right? So you start this venture and see where it goes. But sure, isn't the goal like, hey, this would be awesome if it blew up and got big?
Yeah.
Like, I would imagine maybe that was the plan at some point.
Yes.
Like, all right, let's
Yeah.
see where this can take us.
Yes.
So, which is, so you have primalpioneer.com. Obviously, you're on Instagram too, which I think is just under Primal Pioneer.
Yeah.
You'll see it. Facebook
Yes.
a bunch, or do you have a Facebook?
But there is
though?
a Primal Pioneer Facebook.
There is a Primal Pioneer Facebook. Okay.
Yeah.
And start doing TikTok short videos.
I know.
Hayden can
Need to hire you.
yeah. So the TikTok thing, apparently that's taken over.
We just launched the YouTube channel.
Oh,
So the-
YouTube. You were talking about
Yeah,
that.
the 2020 hunt, which was literally like a 15-minute.
We didn't say anything.
No talking.
Yeah.
I mean, we put it up
It's a
there because I
silent
want to see
film.
the exactly. I want to see the progression of how our filming goes, and then the 2021 hunt is up.
Was okay.
It was a little bit better. That was homemade content. We had a friend, the girl. We have a filmmaker. Her business is called Wildly Creative, and we hired her for our hunt last year, and so we're waiting to get that footage back. But she actually kind of threw together our 2021 hunt, and then the 2022 hunt where we got the monster. Will launch probably end of this
Hopefully
month.
soon.
If you're watching.
Yeah.
No, we have like half an episode done, and she
Yeah, she's-
said
Okay.
the other half should be done
It'll be probably, I think, 3 episodes for this hunt.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
2 day
Oh,
one
that's
episode.
yeah. Break it apart. So was the original idea for well, I guess it's encompassed into one with the DIY, do-it-yourself style, and the wild game. Did it just pop into your head or yours, or was it like who was like, hey, let's do this?
I have a food blog. I already have a food blog of my own.
Okay, gotcha.
That I was running, and so when he was kind of getting into the elk hunting, I thought, well, why don't we just start? Like again, we had all this meat. I'm like, well, time to start creating those recipes, and why
Okay.
not just launch that into its own site?
Right.
But the DIY public land was, as he was saying, when he moved here, he didn't have access to the private land that he had back in Pennsylvania, and so it was kind of like we had to learn. Okay, well, where are the public land spots to hunt whitetail? And then he got into the elk, and it was kind of like the concept of, people think that you have to pay thousands of dollars to an outfitter to get an elk, and we wanted to basically
Prove 'em
showcase that
Show that.
you can
Yeah.
get some trophy
Right.
bulls or on public land.
Yeah.
Which I
Which you
would
did
have never
this year.
thought that
Which
I
you
would have got
did.
that trophy bull.
yeah.
Yeah.
But they're there.
Uh-huh.
And
So
there was one bigger than that after I shot. So
really.
yeah.
And you have, again, on the website, a lot of everything we're talking about we can find on the website at primalpioneer.com. So, but like you've got different things people can click on to help with,
There's different articles,
if they're
yeah.
going to Colorado or they're using, you talk about onyx. He uses onyx a lot.
I use it every
in
day.
the waterfowl world, same thing. You use it, I'm sure, a ton. If you're doing public land
Yeah,
hunting.
shows you the boundaries. And
Yeah.
And that's why I like it. I hunt the boundaries. Use it for my advantage.
Right.
So
Yep. See where you're at. What are some other? What's the first thing? Like if I have never been, I'm like, I want to go. Is this can you plan it within a year, or should you plan it the next year? Like, then you should go if you've never been before.
So I think I waited 2 years. I did a lot of research, Elk 101, universities, a ton of research. I wish I would have never waited, because you're going to learn more in the field than you are. I mean, you're going to learn a lot from the research that we do, but I would say go.
Just go.
Go.
I mean, do your research, but
Yeah,
like you said, but then even that first year hunt, which was
Don't feel scared.
2018.
'Cause I think that's what was my problem.
Yeah.
And then everyone that goes with me now, they didn't want to go the first year. They're like, well, let Mike do it, see if he can do it. And I was pretty good the first year. I called in a monster the first day. Second day, I hit one. He was laying there. I thought he died, and he got up and ran. Couldn't
Okay.
find him in a blowdown. But so then everyone started coming.
Yeah.
And then we started making it real.
Because every
Well,
year,
if Mike can do it, we
Right.
can.
and every year they've
That'd
been
be like
on
Mike, yeah.
elk. Every year you've seen elk,
Elk every year. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Either,
public land.
and we just screwed up,
Have you been to different spots, or do you
So-
generally try to go to the same area?
We were going to the same area, and then the wildfire came the one year, so we went. But when we went to the new unit, we used Onyx and Go Hunt. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Go Hunt. They kind of break it down into units and states and everything, and really pinpoint where you should hunt in that unit.
Okay.
And
It's a great resource.
it is, and I think it's like $150 a year.
Yeah.
And then they even put you into some drawings every month to maybe win something. But they're
Okay.
pretty big.
Gotcha.
But we used that to our advantage, and we went the first day. We called in one, screwed up on it. The next day we missed one, and then that was the second morning. And I think either the second evening or the third evening we called in another giant, and they just came in quiet. They weren't even bugling that year, and we messed up on it too.
Yeah.
But we're there.
Learning process.
Yeah.
And you're camping out there.
So we do both. My in-laws go, you go.
The year you went to the new unit, they just backcountry.
Yeah, we
camped
backcountry.
it
Did
the whole time.
backcountry.
Yeah, but we sometimes we get just a house and rent, and then we'll camp in the back country too, and then come back.
I go
When
for
we-
a vacation,
Yeah.
stay in the house
You
while
go
they
there,
go
yeah,
back.
right.
Yeah, when
country.
we stayed in the back country those 5-6 days,
Okay.
it was rough.
Right.
Yeah. It was,
Is it obviously that's going to entail a little bit more? What's that? I mean, we were doing technology and talking about things changing, but a lot of the technology that's changed is helping with the backpacking world,
right.
and just lighter gear but more comfortable, more adequate. Not the old school, just
Right.
like heavy coat. You got to wear 12 layers, and so that helps. But
I think I did that my first year. I was soaked every day from sweat or
Sure.
rain, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Because it did rain the first time
Yeah.
I ever went, and I was soaked. And then I'd get hot, then I'd freeze, and get hot.
Right.
And then I started, going to the merino wool.
yeah, merino
then-
wool is definitely
Right.
a big thing. What about food? When you did that, what was the food prep like?
Mountain
doing
House
backcountry.
Peaks,
Which I think
jet
we
boils. I think
yeah,
you got
jet boil we do now, which is really big, which you can find online and at the store at Rogers Sporting Goods. Jet boil, I thought that was really cool. It's newer for us, but
the best thing I found in the mountain was Roman noodles. Oh my god!
yeah,
For 20 cents a pack. They tasted so
right.
good.
You just live off. Yeah,
That
why
night
not?
that the broth is drinking it. It was
Uh-huh.
so good.
Oh yeah.
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 Yep. But we do the kind of your dehydrated style foods
yeah.
that you can put. We sell those too now. So, I mean,
Those are pretty filling.
all
Yeah, they are.
sorts
they
of
have
stuff.
like,
but
30, 40 grams of protein in
yeah,
the one pack.
Yeah. It's all about weight too. And especially if you're doing an elk hunt, because if you do get one, there's a
was
lot
rough.
of weight.
It was,
Yeah.
ru- it was
There's
rough.
just more stuff to bring
Yeah.
in.
I mean, when they packed out this year's bull,
We were 3 miles back.
and like one guy was carrying one hindquarter, and it weighed. I mean, you wouldn't believe how much
Yeah.
just that weighed. It
Yeah.
was crazy.
It's a lot. It's
Yeah.
multiple trips.
Yeah.
Or at least it was. Like when I got mine, it was just multiple trips.
We had
and-
multiple. If you would have got that monster the first year,
I'd be still there.
because that was a solo hunt.
Yeah.
Had to
I was
call in
wondering
the
about that.
helicopter.
I was wondering what would happen if you didn't have any buddies to help
That
you.
Was
Yeah.
solo.
And and
That was a solo hunt.
I was 3 hours up the mountain.
Do you suggest solo?
Sorry, guys. Yes.
Do you suggest solo?
no.
I like it because I can do what I want. You know what I mean?
Right. You don't feel like, if my buddy's with me, what does he want to do? Am I
Right.
doing
Who's
something
calling?
he
Who's
doesn't?
shooting?
Well, I'm always a caller. My other guys aren't so good.
Mm-hmm.
They're still in the learning stages with the mouth read, tickles
Okay.
their tongue
Yeah,
and throat
uh-huh.
or whatever. But so I do all the calling. But I mean, I like when they go just because we get different ideas where one guy's really on X, one guy's
When you
looking
went
here.
by yourself, though, did you have a way to communicate if you got injured?
my cell phone.
But
Yeah.
if it
But
didn't
when I was
work-
out of
We invested in a Garmin InReach
the second
after
year.
that first year.
Because there was
Okay.
some time.
Little satellite.
Because once I did shoot my bull the first year I went, he was 6 yards from me when I shot him, right? And I should have got it, but I tried to call 15 people to tell them, and nobody answered because I didn't have service. So it would have relaxed me a little bit more to take my time, let this thing,
Not spook it.
yeah.
Mhm.
But-
Yeah.
So
I,
I'm mad at myself about that.
I think I might be on the buddy system train. Like, we're just going to have to figure out what each one's doing.
Right.
Right, and now we have
Break my leg or something up there.
Exactly.
6 guys now. Right?
But he has like I said, he has the little satellite locator now.
Yeah, highly recommend that. But we have 6 guys now, and we stay together, or we'll go, hey, you 2 go here, and 4 will go here.
Do you always come back?
Yeah.
You don't do like satellite camps or spike camp. Your main and that hub, and then go out and you might stay the night.
Yeah, we'll stay the night, 1 or 2 nights, and then just come back to the house
Okay.
a couple days later.
When you're doing that, gotcha.
Yeah.
So when you're out there, are you running into other groups of hunters?
Yeah, last year we ran into quite a few hunters. We
Really?
called, I don't know, we called in like 10 different guys last year. We're like, here he comes, there's a guy. Yeah.
Okay. I think, public land, right? That's something you're going to have to.
Exactly.
Contest
Avoid
with.
pressure. We do think last year, one of the key things when you're elk hunting is to go, like a lot of guys don't go high in the elevation. They like to hunt low. So if you go high, you can avoid some of the pressure. But the unit that we were hunting in, it was still half charred from the fires.
Oh.
So
we
it pushed everybody where
So I think
I
it
went.
pushed everybody into a smaller section of the
That
unit.
makes sense.
Gotcha.
Because where we go, you have to walk in. You can't take a
Yeah.
horse, 4-wheeler, dirt bike, whatever. You have to walk.
Right.
And that's the way I like it.
Yeah.
Because until we get lazy.
What's for Colorado? What's so you can buy your tag when you get there?
And I never do because
He orders it the
This
day
day
that
it is
it launches.
relaunch, I'm
like
buying
August 7th or something.
But what's that?
Makes
It's the
me so
same price
manly.
whether you order it
Right.
or buy it over the counter. And what is Colorado right now? What are they going for a
Just under
$706, 706, 710.
Yeah, just run 700 now.
and that's for an any elk tag
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
bull
Either
or-
sex, yeah.
Oh, either sex.
Yeah.
Can you do they offer cow only
They
tags, right?
do, yeah.
And then probably not bull only.
I don't think they do.
Because since you'd get an any
I don't think
tag,
they
like
do
either
enough.
sex, that
Right.
would be your
Right.
gotcha. Yeah.
Well, I think the cow only's
Yeah, but if
3
you're-
something, maybe 4. I don't know.
I mean, if you're $700 for a bull elk,
For a
Right.
A blast
I mean,
of a
to go do some of these. I think we got into this a little bit. We were talking about like out of state hunting. So Missouri's inexpensive. I think the last I checked, they were $265 or something
Yeah.
for like whitetail.
Yeah.
But to go out of state for a whitetail, you're getting there
Yeah.
to where
Yeah, for a hind
$200
quarter.
more, you can go shoot a big game
Right.
bull.
In the West, yeah.
Yeah, in the West and do a big game, because I think that's if you go with an outfitter, that's where you're going to see that cost
Yeah.
go way up.
Well, they're going to cook your meals. They're going to give you a bed.
Yeah, sure.
You know, and
Who needs a shower when you're out
Right.
there?
Right.
yeah,
But
for 5 days, I wish
Colorado-
I would have had one. Day 3.
You can get some of them wipes.
Yeah, we have them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not all states though have over the counter. That's kind of the.
But Colorado
That's why
does,
Colorado,
yeah. And
although
that's
they're-
probably why.
For now. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're contemplating taking it away.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I think there's just too many people. You know, population of humans just
Yeah.
grew.
It grow, and everybody starts realizing maybe what we're talking about.
Right.
You know, because other states you do have to draw a tag.
Yeah.
Have you been anywhere else? For
We
elk?
went to Wyoming for the mule deer.
Okay.
That was
Yeah,
crazy.
you got drawn for that, but that was
That was crazy.
that was a crazy unit.
Yeah.
But no, I put in for Pennsylvania every year because that's my hometown.
Uh huh.
I put in for Missouri now.
Uh huh.
Then I just buy the over counter for Colorado. I put in for Wyoming. I buy their point every year.
Yep.
And then this year we put in for New Mexico.
We just put in for New Mexico.
And then
Okay.
I'm going to put in a couple mule deer tags this year.
Did you put in for the bear and the elk now in Missouri?
Yeah.
The first year, the guy from Liberty
Yeah.
got an elk,
Kind of know.
which was kind of exciting
Mhm.
just
Right.
because he,
He's from-
shopped
Yeah.
at the store and lived in town. And did Chandler end up going?
I haven't heard anything about
You
him
know
and bear
what? We
hunting.
should do a
little wrap
little
up.
revamp of that. So Chandler, who is here, got a bear tag,
Uh huh.
but I don't. It's tough too because we're busy.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I used to go bear hunting in Pennsylvania
yeah,
because you could buy it over the counter.
right. Yeah, you'd be living a dream if you got to hunt elk in your own state. now.
Right.
Well, Mike be on it down there
And it's like, I think it cost me $11 for a point. Right.
for Missouri, or
For a elk point for Pennsylvania.
okay,
And I think I'm have like 10 points now or something weird. But if
But
I get
Missouri's
picked,
not-
it's like $250.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's pretty cheap.
So it's pretty cheap.
For
So
an
that's
elk
why
tag.
I do it. Yeah. And then I go back and
Right.
have family.
Do you have to have so many points before you
I think you
get drawn?
just have more points in the kitty to get picked.
okay.
So I'm just not the lucky one.
Yeah, kind of like Iowa deer.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about doing it, and I just never did it, even though my uncle's got a spot there, and he's always, come on up. But I don't know. I probably should.
Right. We always talk about me and the kids,
Yeah.
multiple deer hunts, try different things. But we don't have time either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
We got other jobs you do too,
I know.
don't you?
Yeah.
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 So, it takes up some time. The other thing I saw was if people want, what's the subscribe thing? Is that do you send recipes to people?
Well,
Or-
we do, but it's just recipes that are on the blog. There's not
Okay.
There's not any exclusive content right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. You send out nice, look like a menu recipe,
Right.
send them to people with the pictures and
We are going to self-publish. Well, we have a little free. Like when you sign up, you get a free, easy ground venison.
Okay.
Printable
Cookbook.
That's
Gotcha.
I don't know, maybe 10, 15 recipes in it.
yeah.
I think we're going to try to do one in
Yeah, I'm going to self-publish on Amazon a cookbook. Mid-year.
Gotcha. Like a
Yeah.
Primal Pioneer
Yeah.
cookbook.
Yeah.
But as of right now, everything that you find on the website has got the recipe.
Oh, yeah.
Ingredients,
Yeah.
how to cook it,
Printable recipe.
you can print it,
Yeah.
how to make it. Which is awesome.
Yeah.
There's no secrets. It's
No.
all on there. Elk, venison. You talked about you did the pheasant. Are you
Yeah.
gonna branch out some more?
We'd like
And
to
do
because we'd
some,
like to add more public land hunts to
Right.
get more, different variety and then
Some
create
herb
recipes from there.
recipes.
we're going to try pronghorn in Nebraska, I think, this year. So
Oh, okay.
something new we're going to try.
That'll be exciting.
right.
Yeah.
With a bow. So
Yeah, I don't know how you're gonna shoot a pronghorn with a bow.
We're going to try
That
it.
just seems
Hey,
like
water holes.
Right? Who would have thought I'd
Water
shoot
holes.
an elk, right?
I
think
know
I'm
those
like-
pronghorns are fast.
Of course,
So are arrows. So
you watch some of the hunting shows. It's like, I wonder if it's that real. But
right.
some of them water holes, them pronghorns got a drink.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
It's hot.
they come out there, and so, we talked about where to find you guys. You know, primalpioneer.com. You can find them on Instagram, Facebook. They're going to keep going. I would imagine we're not slowing down.
No, we're going
Is that
faster.
so what's
Yeah,
the,
this year's kind of like the year for explosion. We have
Is
a
it?
YouTube channel.
Okay.
We're gonna launch a podcast mid-year. We have a lot of goals here.
Yeah.
We have the podcast. These are all ideas we've been sitting on since 2018, and
It's
just
the future. That's what we want to
you
hear.
know, yeah. So the YouTube channel, the podcast, and then
YouTube channel's up and running now.
it's up and running.
So you can subscribe to
Yep.
the. Is it Primal Pioneer?
It's Primal
Easy
Pioneer, yeah.
Okay. So they can do that. You're looking into the podcast,
Yeah.
the cookbook.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, I mean, we've had a lot of people reach out, basically kind of, you know, asking for like some consultation of like, I live in this area. I'd like to hunt public lands. How do I find them? What do you
Right.
recommend? So we've kind of toyed with the idea of how that could look in terms of
Consulting.
I'm gonna
a
drag
consultation.
Mike out to. He's gonna hold my hand. Tell me where to go.
Right.
right. Yeah. So
Help
And
me.
it's
We could do
interesting.
that.
Help me hang my stand come September 1st, or like in Missouri, a lot of the rule, like September 1st, you can hang your stand. That's the one thing it stinks is the how late. So I do hunt a public land area along with a private land spot, but the public land, September 1st is when you can hang a set. And I never liked how close that was to the archery opener. When you're 2 weeks, I just would rather have it be up like while the deer are still in their summer pattern.
yeah,
I don't know. It probably,
I never
didn't
go
mean
anyways.
anything, but
it's so hot.
I
in
never go.
Missouri, yeah,
Missouri
I go end of October.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I want to go earlier, but it's so hot.
You can't see anything anyways if you're timber hunting
Right.
because everything's still green.
Right.
So
But I always try to hold off.
yeah,
I have some plans this year on our land.
gotcha,
I'm giving them protein right now, the whitetail,
gotcha.
and then we're gonna do clear out section for a food plot.
Okay.
So see what we can get.
And people can reach you on the website, like send you an email.
Yeah.
So if they got questions on a food recipe or they don't know how to cook something, right?
Yeah.
Email you. If you're going out west to Colorado, maybe this fall on an elk hunt or whenever, or
Yeah.
whitetail around the state of Missouri,
Yeah.
or hit Mike up because he's got some great tips and pointers and kind of lead you in the right direction so you don't just go out there, and try to make you more successful. So
Yeah.
That's our plan.
and then if you're successful and you bring that wild game back, right, then
And
you
get some
can enjoy
recipes.
Jennifer's enchilada recipe like we did. So I think the future looks good, right? 2023 is the year.
That's the year we're gonna.
So
grow.
you have to update us, on how things are going, and when you stop in the store. And
Bring his next set of horns. I thought it was so funny when
Hey,
he brought those horns in.
that's what I'm
knew-
saying.
Well,
Bring
I
'em
wanted
up.
to bring them today. She goes, no, they don't.
I was
see
like,
'em."
do not bring
Yeah.
them today.
No.
I love it. People show their stuff off every year,
The sad thing is I don't know where I'm going to put this guy.
I don't either.
and
'cause
you had already
we're gonna
got
have
it
space.
officially scored.
No, the guy that's doing the taxidermy work on it,
Okay.
he scored it at 365,
Okay.
but he measured from the inside of the horns instead of the outside.
So, I probably can pull some strings. Now it'll be in August, but when we do our whitetail contest, we have Pope and Young and Boone and Crockett scores that are certified there.
Oh, sweet.
So most people bring their whitetail.
Yeah.
We'll try to slip your elk in the back door and have them scored officially so it can get put in the books
That'd be awesome.
yeah.
for
thank
you.
you.
So we'll try
Yeah.
to do that,
Thanks.
So, and if it makes book, then they can send it off for you. So you get the certificate.
Nice,
So
nice.
we had a lot of whitetail show up this year to get scored for our event, but
Yeah.
Well, we got 3 on the same day on public lands, the same
that's awesome.
area.
Yeah.
The boys got 7 or 8 point and another 8 point.
We got a pretty
I got a
good
9 point, but
public
had
land
gangrene.
spot.
Okay.
But
Love it.
Can't divulge the secrets, but
Yeah.
we
Love
found
it.
a pretty
No,
good.
not all the secrets.
Right.
No, you gotta keep some for yourself. So, again, Mike and Jennifer, thanks for coming out.
Thanks for
and
having us.
For having
make
us.
sure we check out primalpioneer.com. You can find them on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube channel now. If you got questions, hit them up. Great people. They'll get back with you and try to help you out on your next adventure, your next cooking adventure too.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. Thank you
Yeah,
guys.
thank you.
Thank you.